It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good afternoon, guys. New York is open. It's 2 p.m. CET, 1 p.m. London, 8 p.m. Eastern. Piotr here, and this is the live market coverage of New York Open here on Global Liteforex YouTube channel. Hopefully you are doing well, especially that pound Swiss franc long trade we took during our live event covering UK retail sales hit the target. Great stuff. Tuesday was great as well. So we have some room to maneuver during the New York session today. Cool. Let's start with risk warning. Please bear in mind, trading FX on margin, trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain loss of some or all initial investment, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay. We are waiting for Canadian ADP non-farm employment change. We are waiting for Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index as well as weekly jobless claims. Just ahead of the New York Open, massive market manipulation from the central bankers' perspective. I'm going to briefly explain what I'm talking about. We are going to connect with Michał, and after my conversation with Michał, if we are going to have a time, I will go deeply into that. So overall, the London session was busy. We start with positive from the pound perspective comments from EU Barnier. That's what Michał was talking about earlier. Then we get very strong retail sales data. So we saw squeeze on the pound, right? The rising euro towards 12.40 was scary for the European central bankers. So there was a leak that ECB staff study potential revamp of inflation goal. Immediately we drop 40 pips. that was helpful with pound Swiss franc, to be honest with you. But it was another manipulation, especially that the indices jumped on that. Okay. And few moments ago, Mnunchin was on CNBC. I'm not sure if it's not really, or maybe White House administration has a schedule for the whole day to try to pump the market with fake news. What Mnunchin said: first thing first, White House Congress have reached an agreement on top line numbers now discussing offset. So he's saying that markets shouldn't be aware that we are going to get the US government shutdown. Nobody wants US government to shut down. That's what Mnunchin said. Also, trying to pump the market even more. He said that everything is fine with China. We are going to have a call. But yesterday, based on what we get from Wall Street Journal, but maybe that's the fake media, that's how, at least how White House staff is seeing this. Based on Wall Street Journal, we got the information that it's supposed to not to be the call. So we have a strong sell towards the end of the session yesterday in US. Looks like they're trying to pump it a bit. But it's good because it's pre-open, so they are not going to be gap down. They are going to open neutral, so plenty of possibilities to sell. We'll see. Dollar yen, another manipulation. Kuroda said that still powerful easing is going to be in place. Right, so plenty of stuff like this right ahead of the New York Open. Looks like they really scary what may happen. And yeah, I think that dollar yen is showing that the risk is still rather switching towards the off, as long as we are below 108, 108.10. Also closer to the Canadian numbers, I'm going to discuss GBPCAD. I like what is going on there. Overall, I like a bit short-term pound higher almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Anyway, let's try to check what Michał got for us. He should have something related to the Canadian data. So let me try to connect with him. Please bear with us. Hello, Mr. Michał. wakey.
Hello. I was checking something. How are you?
Goodies.
Fine?
Goodies. What about you?
Also fine. I didn't take this trade that you mentioned, but I'm also good for today.
Goodies. That sounds excellent. As far as I am aware, you've got something for us in relation to Canadian data. Am I right?
Yes, that's right. Today on this meeting, I will briefly cover the Canadian data shortly.
So all over to you.
Okay, thanks. Maybe we will start about comparing the according to the USD CAD pair. Comparing the central bank compared to other central banks, Bank of Canada is going to, as mentioned before, leave the interest rate unchanged on 1.75%, and the Polish logic is still the same, that it is better not to speak about the easing of the monetary policy when the national economy is on the verge of the recession, because that can make markets unbalanced, as he stated. I think, yeah, the bubble is inflating, the investors are buying stocks, and it will burst sooner or later. That brings us to the recent tone of the Bank of Canada that suggests rather a rate cut, not the raise of the rates, because of the because of the because of the latest data that we have from the job market, for example. But I can say that also we have the bearish trend on the USD CAD. Following the Powell speech and the FOMC minutes that wants to and yeah, that is the difference. The Polos wants to stay at the recent level of the interest rates, and the Powell is more likely to, almost sure that the rates will be cut. And like he wants to stay at this rhetoric on the monetary policy. So I think that is why the CAD recently is strengthening a bit. We see the bearish trend at the moment on the pair. And also the investors lately completely ignored the data from the job from June. And it was very weak. It was very weak, but maybe because of the Bank of Canada mostly refers to the average values, and for the past 6 months we had the growth around 40,000 per month on the new jobs. It is year to year it is 2.3% growth. So it is annually it's we see the strong growth of the job places, and resuming the inflation is also good. It's at the I think it was around 2012 or 2009. I don't want to lie, but for the several years it's at the highest level. So the trade balance is good. Reports are strong for the Canadian GDP, for the foreign trade, as I said, and I think there is a strong foundation for the bearish trend that will continue on the USD CAD as the central bank policy between US and Canada it differs so much. Also the pace is different on the GDP, and right now we see that the Fed is more likely to cut the rates, and Polos wants to stay at the recent level and wait for the outcome. So I think that for the short term we will see like still bearish scenario, I think, for the CAD. But there's always some but.
There's always but.
Yes. We can see on the global economy the slowdown, the trade wars, and I think sooner or later it could affect also the Canadian dollar. Nonetheless, we should wait and see the future outcome of future data readings, and then we will have to wait for some commentary from the Bank of Canada side. Will they ease the tone? How they will react, and how they will change the policy outcome.
Very good point. But I think we are going to hear that rather sooner than later. I think that if upcoming FOMC, FOMC meeting, if we are going to see the Fed is going to cut, I think that Polos will change also the tone very, very quickly, and because usually maybe it's a wrong word, but I think that Bank of Canada will try to closely follow what Fed is doing.
I don't know. I think we have to wait. Right now, as I said, it's they don't they don't mind how the Fed is doing. Right, he's all the time he's keeping his the statement the recent tone, and I think that. Maybe if with the time, as you said, the Fed would cut the rates, and we will see like the bigger rate cut, like the 50 basis points. I think that might change the tone of the speech of the BOC, Bank of Canada members and the polos.
I think the one of the reason you mentioned about the polos and his neutral tone, not dovish tone. One of the reasons is he doesn't want to be targeted by Trump, saying that Canadian dollar is weak. So as a neighbor, but that's my theory.
Maybe. I think Trump has at the moment adding one more enemy for his rhetoric. It would be I don't know, but as you mentioned, there might be some conspiracy theory, and
exactly.
He has some bigger plan for that.
Okay, Michał, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your input. Anything else would you like to add?
I think not. I think that's all. Maybe you have some questions, or also not.
What we have 10 minutes towards the US and Canadian data, so I think that's it. We are going to go through few charts. Michał, thank you very much and have a great New York session.
Thank you again, and see you next time. Bye bye.
See you next time. Bye bye. All right, guys. This is the intraday USD CAD chart. As Michał mentioned, we are within the downtrend. We are moving inside downward channel. 131 looks like it's some kind of the supply available here from the intraday perspective. But I've mentioned before that I like what is going on pound Canadian dollar. So let's have a look what we have here. Let me switch to daily chart first. I'm gonna to show you what I'm talking about. To the downside, we have nice over under and nice possible demand base also on the place where markets show the weakness. So I'm talking about those three lower lines over here. All right. So to the right side, those three lines been tested, right? And we saw the bounce today. Of course, there is a long way to try to change what we have here, meaning trying to turn into bullish. It's like trying to catch the falling knife. I do understand what some may means, but I would like to show you something. So one thing we know that we are testing very important level and we saw the bounce. That's the first thing first. The second thing I would like to show you is what is going here. This move to the upside, right? This move to the upside. I like the size we have here, all right? Now, if my way of thinking is correct, meaning that I know that is a Boris Johnson is a risk event for the pound, right? But Barnier comment, latest data, I don't want to say it's great, but it's not horrible, right? So all those bad things, I think, might be priced in from the pound perspective. On the other hand, Canadian was stronger because of what Michał said before, plus oil prices, right? So we saw the strengthening of the Canadian dollar. Now, of course, the question is what we are going to have in terms of the market sentiment. We saw strong sell-off yesterday. We switched towards the end of the New York session yesterday. We switched to risk off. Of course, this manipulation I've mentioned before from each side, right? White House, Kuroda, Barnier, etc., etc. ECB. By the way, don't forget ECB is next week, rate decision. So all this huge manipulation pre-New York Open. The only thing is caused the bounce, or if you wish, the rally during the pre-market in New York pre-market session. I think it's been done a little bit too early. That's my way of thinking. So in case of continuation of the risk off, in case of the continuations of the falling oil prices, versus eventually short profit taking on the pound, we might see nice rally here. So trying to continue that way, right? The first way of the move was something like this when we are talking about the size. So in that case, we might see retest of the supply 67.50, and that's logical, guys. That's logical place. Look, that's logical place. So, you know, I like pound here, maybe not at current level, and I would rather wait for some kind of the pullback before to jump into that water. So let's switch to the smaller time frame. Let's switch. I don't like 4 hours, but this time we have to do that. What we have here, of course, we are testing supply right now. Almost everywhere pound is testing the latest supply. So I'm not surprised we are here testing supply as well. And in that case, if we are going to react inside this supply, we might see retest of the low, right? But in case we are going to, and then I'm going to wait patiently either for this some kind of the double bottom breakout of the range, all right, or retest the lowest low over here. On the other hand, if we are going to break through that supply, right, the latest weakness might be the place where market may want to wait for. So if we are going to have like this breakout to the upside, we have the latest weakness from here. So we might see either pullback towards the latest weakness or a little bit deeper towards the top of this consolidation before the breakout, right? So either way, we might see rally off that zone, something like this. So to be honest with you, I like pound CAD. Might be with risk of sentiment, I might like this even more than what we had previously on pound Swiss franc, right, where we hit the target and we are pulling back right now, but we are still well above 2023, so above the entry we've seen. And what is important here, the supply being taken out, right? We might see deeper pullback, and we might see either top of the double bottom, or we may retest the bottom and create the triple bottom, for example, right? So I'm going to monitor the pound crosses very closely during the upcoming days. So yeah, I like what is going on pound. In the meantime, we have a strong pullback on the dollar yen. Wow. Let's have a look what is going on. Let's check what might be the reason. Yeah, it's a reaction inside this zone. But we were discussing these levels. Nice. I've been waiting a little bit higher. Looks like we didn't get there. You cannot trade everything, right? Sometimes you have to take the break. Hi Ulysses, how you doing? Nice to see you. The crude is retesting the broken demand from the daily chart, right? So, and we are right now, right after the New York Open, retesting the intraday supply. Almost to the point. So let's have a look what we are going to get in terms of data, both US and Canadian, and we will try to create some trading plan. Don't know what's going to happen with Euro, to be honest with you, after this leak in relation to that the ECB may revamp inflation goal. So it might happen very first time. We are not gonna watch euro dollar at all, and we are going to focus on pound instead, especially that we are doing well on euro pound. And if you are listening carefully, you know what does it mean, the break of 90.15, if you are listening few previous days carefully. Hi Dixo, good to see you. 2 minutes left, so we are waiting again. We are waiting, mostly I'm waiting for Canadian data, especially from the pound CAD perspective, but I think Philly Fed Manufacturing Index could be the market mover, especially that the expectations are quite high compared to what we get last time. But lately Philly Fed is quite volatile, so we'll see. One minute left. Also, I'm glad that before yesterday we had a break, but before the break on Tuesday, I've mentioned that this first supply, it's not gonna work, and I've explained what I'm expecting. Equal moves to the upside, and we are approaching the target, and we are approaching this 24.18, 25. Very important from my perspective. Very important for pound. We are retesting this levels right now, so that's gonna be the key here, right? And from the pound perspective, bulls are located around 24.40 and below, supply 24.80, 25. Let's have a look what we get in terms of US data. 5 seconds. Okay, looks like Philly Fed is strong because of, I assume, what is going on with dollar yen. Jobless claims 216 versus 216 expectation, prior 209. Continuing claims better, so let me put it into the chat window. What is important from pound perspective is worth to watch that in relation to Brexit, voting underway for ban amendment, and based on the information I have here, that one might bring Parliament back for a few days in September and October if it gets suspended by the new Prime Minister. So, backdoor. And Philly Fed, that's what I've been expecting when I saw dollar yen moving. Huge beat, but it's very volatile these days. 21.8 versus 5 and prior 0.3. Very good details. Employment 30. Prices paid better as well, 16.1. New orders better, so it's overall better than what market was expecting. So we have more rally on stocks, but that might change if market will realize that might not be 50 basis point cut from FOMC. So probably towards end of the month we are going to see this roller coaster, right? All right, pound is trying to recover. I'm looking for Canadian data as well. $30.4 versus prior 16,000. Negative. US Treasury yields higher after data, so that's what I've been talking about a second ago. So that's gonna be very interesting in terms of the market reaction. Of course, initial reaction right after the data was dollar positive, but the important thing is where we are going to be at the top of the hour, right? So that's I think that's the key here. If we are going to again, if we will try to switch the sentiment again, in that case, I think it's gonna be worth to check the dollar index, because we correctly read the chart on Tuesday when I've been talking about this huge supply, and let me show you. That's the dollar index, right? That's the supply. That's the supply we were talking about here, right? And that's the reaction. We are trying to get back and retest these levels. Right now, 97.30 looks like might be the key here for that pair. I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about the bottom of that supply we discussed previously. So overall, I do expect a little bit lower level. I'm not expecting fireworks on euro dollar, but this type of the move back towards 96.60, right? That might create something one can call here similar to inverted head and shoulder ahead of the European Central Bank, right? So I see euro dollar testing something like 1320, 1350 maybe ahead of the ECB. Then, you know, all in hand of the central bankers. So yeah, I'm not saying I do expect some crash, dollar crash, at least not now. Unless we are going to get closer to this US government shutdown, that could be the case, right? But Mnunchin assures us that it's not gonna happen, so we should remember his words in case something different will happen, right? So here, really, I do expect, that's what I've been explaining on Tuesday, a little bit deeper pullback. Of course, to get there, the easiest way is to push euro dollar higher and dollar yen lower, as those two are the heaviest inside the dollar basket. So that's how I see the dollar index. So there is a chance we are going to see a little bit higher levels by 9 ticks, 10 ticks, and that would equal the post ECB leak low, and then we might see a little bit of the dollar weakness. It might be that a lot will depend on where we are going to be right after the US cash open within the next 50 minutes. So let's get back to the platform. Dixo, the student spike on euro dollar, it was caused by the leak that ECB, let me put onto the chat 1 second, that ECB staff study potential revamp on inflation goal. So you've got on the chat window right now. What else we have? Heimer, good afternoon. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But to be honest with you, it looks a little bit better than what it was before, and I've been more afraid about some kind of the summer holiday lullaby. But we are trying. At least we are trying to shake the market a little bit to the upside, a little bit to the downside. So it's good. Yeah, I'm glad that pound Swiss franc we took during the UK retail sales data hit the target. That's the good one. Watching oil again after Tuesday fireworks. We have looking to sell again. Wonder if it's good here. I don't think so, especially that we are very close to possible demand. We tested this demand lately yesterday ahead of the New York close, bounce over the course of the Tokyo, bounce over the course of the London. Yeah, it might be very interesting over the course of New York session. Anyway, guys, it's time for a first break. So first time today, bar is open, coffee, tea, non-alcoholic drinks only. Charts are available, and I'm going to get back around the top of the hour. So enjoy your break, guys.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back, guys. Second part of our New York Open live market coverage here on Global Liteforex YouTube channel. It's the second and the last part. The reason of being shorter today, the meeting is going to be shorter, is because I'm preparing also Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. So either I'm going to record it and it's gonna be uploaded, or I'm going to go straight live a little bit later today. So have to have some time to prepare these materials as well. So nothing has really changed. We on euro dollar, the last hour a little bit weaker, but bulls managed to create a little bit lower shadow after the better than expected Philadelphia index, right? So here we are a little bit better. Looks like of course the move to the upside, this move to the upside here, look guys, this breakdown, right, this breakdown, especially those few big black candles, falling candles. So this move to the upside, the truth is we didn't hurt any bear most probably with this move, right? We do have some kind of the supply we hit earlier today over here. Also it's related to the monthly chart, as you can see, red line, and we saw the pullback. But right now I think that some bulls may try to create over under here, right around 112, right? So looks like we might be trapped here on euro dollar for some time between 1245.55 and 1205.1180 on euro dollar. So nothing extraordinary here. Now pound. UK Parliament backs amendment aiming to block no deal Brexit, 315 to 274. I'm trying to check some more information about that. Couldn't find anything yet. Here is about the Huawei also, but nothing in relation to the pound. So watching the pound and especially cable here, because of what we discussed, right? Daily chart. Nice reversal. I'm still thinking that it might happen that we are going to finish the business here. So we still might see levels closer to 24, right? Especially if we are going to see the rejection based on 12th of July range, right? Now, once we are going to break through that range from the 12th of July, if we are going to manage to go and close above 25.80, then really from the medium term perspective, things might get very, very interesting when we are talking about the bulls. As of now, switching to the lower time frame, as of now, we are testing and rejection 24.80, 25. That's what we discussed, right? Now, I would like to see a little bit higher levels. I would like to see at least retest of the Monday low. It's also the pre-sell of consolidation level. So still a little bit more space to the upside. That's what I would like to see from the seller's perspective. And from the buyer's perspective, I haven't seen this, what we discussed this morning. And I've been laughing that Barnier destroyed our plan to buy cable on deeper pullback, right? Because that's what we had here, the latest weakness yesterday. And to be honest with you, on this pullback towards the late New York session yesterday, we haven't seen the test. Tokyo haven't seen the test, and then Barnier and stronger pound. So from the selling perspective, higher towards Monday low, weekly open. From the buying perspective, lower towards 24, 25, 24. Dollar yen, a little bit higher, testing the range, or other words, testing the supply based on what we've seen on Tokyo, right? But because of the better data and higher yields, we see higher level here, and I think that Kuroda comment is doing the good job here as well. Then the next supply, possible supply, I see oh my goodness, yeah. Is towards 108.05 level. That's what we discussed this morning as well. So it might be the case for equal move. We like this stuff. We like to use easy tools, right? So it might be the case for this type of the move, okay? I'm not gonna be surprised to see them a little bit higher based on this equal moves and hitting 108.05 on dollar yen. That's from the bear's perspective. From the bull's perspective, I do believe that we have to leave the job for the big guys to trying to defend this 107.80, 107.50, the key psychological zone, a line in the sand, if you wish, whatever you want to call it. What we need to, the first, from the bull's perspective, first task is done, right? We managed to get back above the weekly open. Second thing, we have to manage to get back above Monday high, right? So almost Monday high and the supply we discussed almost very close to each other, right? So that's the middle of that range. So that's how I see the things on the dollar yen. So aggressive bears watching 108.05, 108.15. But conservative bulls are waiting for a better daily close. Pound Swiss franc. Here, it's all about the sentiment, overall market sentiment, right? A lot of things bulls got to do here, right? Because we hit the intraday supply, we hit also weekly open, we took out few stops, but we are starting to draw upper shadow, right? We at least have to close above Tuesday high and weekly open. So in that case, let me put weekly open. Okay, so that's the first retest. I'm not surprised we see a little bit of the pullback and the bearish activity here, especially that this weekly open is related to the previous strong demand zone, which been broken this week, right? So it might be all about weekly close here. From the intraday perspective, just a reminder, after the better than expected retail sales and Barnier comments, we took long, which hit the target we had, right under the weekly open. As you can see, we were even above. So for now, this weekly open still working as a supply, so we can narrow the range over here. So the weekly open 23.35 still as a supply. Possible demand from the intraday perspective. Lower towards 22.85, 22.80, and if you remember, after the retail sales, I opened at half and been looking to scale in, but you know what? I missed the entry by something like pip or less. Then I didn't chase the market, so I hit the target with the half, right? Exactly, that's what we discussed. And then eventually, in case of the break below 22.80, we might revisit 22.50 again, right? So we may eventually create the range. Also, we spoke about pound Canadian dollar, and I've been explaining here everything based on the daily chart and based on what we've seen here, right? So the size of the move to the upside, the size of the move to the downside, where we are compared to what we have to the left, over, under, latest weakness. So the current bounce, right, it's not a surprise. Now, of course, it's all about the weekly open, and that's what we discussed during the first part, right? And eventually about the pullback and how big pullback is going to be. I don't want to chase the prices here, so I'm waiting for the pullback. From the intraday perspective, we do have some kind of the supply we are testing right now. We saw the rejection, but it's right now tiny rejection. We might try to penetrate it higher, we'll see, right? But again, that's what I mentioned. I like pound overall lately, at least for now, from short-term perspective. So let's watch for a while majors, what we have here. If there are any indications what we might see. So we are watching majors, and I'm checking the option market right now. Okay. Dollar yen, we are trading right now 107.92. We hit 107.95, but we are still under 108. And there you go, 108, 108.10. This zone, we have 1.2 billion, 1.2 billion in expiration. So we know what's the magnet. We know what's this move, right? After the data. Euro dollar, we are trading 12.15-ish. Wow, 12.20, 12.30, 3.3 billion. And we know the drill. So we know we know that we are not gonna, probably we are not gonna crash that range after the ECB leak. We are not gonna crash that range for the next 45 minutes, most probably. Again, 1220, 1230, 3.3 billion. 1240, 1250, 1 billion. 1260, 1270, 1 billion. To the downside, 12, 1210, 1.2 billion. And then 1150, 1 billion. So above 112, that's where the interest from the options market, options traders, the interest is. Okay, nothing extraordinary in terms of expiration when we are talking about the other crosses. South Africa, if you are interested in South Africa CAD benchmark rate to cut, that's the comment. Yeah, they lowered, the central bank lowered rates by, as market expected, 25 basis points. Okay, Bullard on the wire. Moving now would be insurance against slowdown. I think he's talking about the cut. A couple, again, Bullard, a couple of 2019 cuts could shift the yield curve upwards. Anything else, Mr. Bullard? Well, didn't I say during the first part that this huge pump from each side, Kuroda, Mnunchin, ECB leak, whatever you want to choose, was too early? That's the 12 minutes to US cash open, and we are right at the bottom here when we are talking about the Dow Jones. A little bit better on the Nasdaq side. I'm watching another monitor, but we are going to discuss both DJ and Nasdaq. And Nasdaq is gonna be probably influenced by Netflix, who was down in the pre-market after the earning reports. Dollar yen didn't react yet. Looks like we may have attempt to break higher from here. But again, it's so close to possible supply. I'm simply not interested here. From the bullish perspective, I'm going to wait and see. So I switched to wait and see mode on the dollar yen from the bull's perspective. And if we are going to see red color on the stocks, I might try to go with dollar yen from 108.05, 108.15. You know, tomorrow is Friday, and it's tomorrow, of course we have a pre-London Open. You are more than welcome to join me tomorrow at 8 AM CT. But we had fantastic Tuesday. We had a fantastic Tuesday, especially when we are talking about the oil. Also, we correctly read dollar chart. We had a very good morning today with pound Swiss franc. So, you know, I'm not in rush. All right, oil, they hit this intraday supply. It looks like enough for them. I'm not in here, but if we are going to go through the previous low over here, the bulls might be cooked here, and we might see 54.20. I would prefer to see Riley back towards 59.50, 59.60. I would probably go again against the bulls. Sounds too good to be true to see that, Riley. But you know what? If there is going to be the attempt to break lower with quick reversal, well, who knows? So you know the drill, you know what I'm talking about. Attempt to break, quick reversal. On the other hand, bears are aggressive. Third attempt, failure. I'm not gonna be surprised. Bears are going to get even more aggressive. If we are going to get back into that channel, we might see even more aggressive sell-off. Gold. That's the big question mark here for me. Range. Strong rally yesterday above the trend line, and Tokyo brought move back under the trend line. Of course, move back above the trend line cause new high compared to latest one, but that was done very quickly. On a higher time frame, it looks a little bit different. Let me make some cleaning here. On higher time frame, it looks like bulls are almost ready. Now, what I mean by that? To be honest with you, I've been gold bearish, but lately I'm switching a little bit more towards the higher, possibly higher levels. Depends on the market sentiment. We might try to go straight, right, towards 1500. Okay. And the first possible demand based on this daily chart is yesterday low. And then again, the low created in the 10th of July. Plenty of these small levels, right? But it might be, as you can see here, that's why I'm saying it almost. If you remember, we do have, at the end of the July, we do have FOMC. And the third approach is usually the test, and we should see some kind of the reaction, but I'm not gonna be surprised. So the first scenario, we go straight, right? But the second scenario might be that we will try to hit some stops because of the negative market sentiment. We see rejection towards the FOMC, and eventually and finally we are going to test this 1380, 1360 demand zone, and we are going to rally off that zone. So a little bit more complicated. The second scenario is a little bit more complicated. It's easy to be trapped, but of course buying low, it's much better thing to do than trying to chase the market at the highs, right? Because very often we are going to turn off the light in that case when we are chasing the market. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I turned off the light a few times. Stronger dollar. So we have a few minutes to the US cash open. So quickly, let's have a look. If we hit the supply on the dollar index, I can see that we didn't yet. I'm gonna to show you right now. So we still got few ticks higher. So intraday stops probably we are going to take out, and we are going to retest this demand we discussed during the first part. But we know the levels we are watching and we are waiting for. So it's time to watch what is going to happen here. And here we might see on the DJ, we might see very interesting things. Either that's the pre-market fake push lower hitting demand, and we will right at the cash open, we will just go to the upside only. Or we are going to see boom, boom, boom. So we know where we are intraday, where we are from, and from the daily chart we also know where we are. We discuss it. We cannot get below 27, 26, 900. So 1 minute left. Let's prepare ourselves for first 5-minute trading range to try to guess what may happen during the first part of the New York cash market. What may happen with DJ. Oops. All right, US cash market is open. Is not the rally I've been expecting. I'm sorry. Right now cash market is open. I'm sorry. This is the cash open. Yeah, correct. Sorry. So watch out for the retest 27,135 based on my chart, and we will see what we are going to get here. Don't forget dollar yen option expiration 108, 108.10 magnet. I was expecting that we are going to solve that one very quickly, either to the upside or to the downside, but looks like it's gonna be a little bit different. Okay, yeah, there is stop count of what we've seen pre-market. There is a little bit lower as well, something. So over under is here. That's okay. They trying. The only thing is, if bears is gonna to let them do that stuff. Not yet. Now to the point. So over under is tested right now. Okay, trying to hold that level again. Over under, guys, to what happened pre-market. I think those stops are gonna be targeted. I would care about this over under if that would be done all during the cash market, not part during the pre-market, but I might be totally wrong. So we are retesting cash open. Big gap down on Netflix. I'm going to show you in a moment. Let's just create this first 5-minute trading range. Trying to move above cash open, so meaning that first 5 minutes we are going to have lower shadow and positive body, and that might create a relief rally. So that's the high. So at least the distance we did to the downside is gonna be, we are going to push to the upside, at least. Now, let's have a look what we have on particular shares. Let's start with Netflix. As you can see, big gap down. Big gap down. All right. First possible supply I see here around 338, 340. But you know what? With those manipulators, I'm not gonna be surprised if they want to try to close the gap eventually. Why not? Can someone tell me why not? So in that case, 360. It could be treated that we are trying to create the range. So trying to hold the low here might be the case. So be careful if you are trying to chase, especially that we have some possible demand over here, which is testing. Oh, sorry. We are below. That's interesting. I thought that we are above, but we are testing right now after the gap down. That's gonna be interesting. Let's have a look what we have on a smaller time frame. Yeah, I can see on the smaller time frame, same what's on daily. I'm just curious if they are going to run away from here. They shouldn't. They shouldn't, because it's the weakness we've seen here. That's huge. That's huge. That's from here. That's happened here, and we gap down even below. So we might see move to the downside from here. Now where? Another weakness. You know, when you hear I'm gonna to compare something. The next weakness was here. Wow. So guys, that might be that was the range. They broke the range and they may want to double that range. Whoa. So it's worth to watch over the course of the day. You know what? First part of the session, towards the lunch in US, it might be the day they are going to try to fight here. So I would be very careful here trying to short it straight away. But closer to the end of the session, without the effect to the upside, those who were buying over the course of the first part of US session may give up and may dump the stock eventually. I've mentioned that I'm going to compare something, right? When you're listening to the CNBC guys or Bloomberg guys, usually it was in my case. I'm not sure how does it look right now, but when I was younger, like 20 years ago. Anyway, usually I heard in TV, I'm buying this dip, I'm selling this rally, right? And I was listening, and I've been very disappointed because they were buying dip, but they didn't mention where exactly is dip based on their experience. The same where is they selling the rallies, they selling this current top, but they never mention the levels, right? So when we are trying to compare what they are saying compared to what we are doing here with exact levels, that's the huge difference. And I'm glad that we are creating slowly this this community here, and we can share the knowledge. So going back to the levels, looks like it's really working right now. Again, I wouldn't chase straight away. If you remember, on Tuesday we were watching Google. And they managed to get back and close positively, but yesterday they did the job and they gapped lower today. Where is the first possible demand zone? I guess somewhere 1122, 1123. Supply no change to what we discussed. I'm not gonna be surprised in case of attempt to close the gap. Okay. So, you know, if we are going to get coordinated manipulation, it might be like this. Apple above 200, the one who is trying to rescue Nasdaq. Is it Warren Buffett buying, or who is buying? Careful here. Above is a gap close eventually. To the downside, yesterday low, of course, in case of breakdown. $200 key psychological level on Apple, I think. I would look for manipulation to the upside with attempt to break the channel, hitting and closing the gap. 210, 200, above 210 with upper shadow rejection, and then eventually to the downside. So we are not quite yet done on Nasdaq. Apple doesn't look bad. Google got the chance for a few dollars higher. Let's have a look what we have on Amazon. Oh! Gap down, plenty of buyers after the gap down. I think the demand might be closer towards 1955 and stops probably below 1941. The next level of demand around 1885. But in case of the break 1941 and close the day below, it might turn bearish. We might activate this supply. Okay, if we are going to close below, we might activate this supply. Okay, let's get back to check what is going on FX side. Euro dollar holding this option levels, pound trying to hold 24.60, and dollar yen trying to approach option levels 108, 108.10. Just a reminder. Market slowed down. So trying to push stocks higher, you have to push oil higher. So we are trying to hold on the closing basis on this hourly chart. Maybe they will try to hold above this top of that channel with lower shadow, trying to push a little bit higher. At the same time, selling gold. The problems around the US cash open, especially close to the demand, saying that bulls might have a problem later on. At least that's how it looks right now. I don't know what's going to happen later on. That's how it looks right now. So guys, we do have levels, especially on the pound crosses. We do have levels on Netflix, Google, Apple, Amazon. So maybe if they are going to try to push it higher, so maybe that might be self-fulfilling, and we might see the rally to back towards 59.60. Why not? Yeah, Mer. Usually that's how it works. All right, guys. Just a reminder, we are about to finish our meeting right now. It's shorter than usual because I'm going to prepare Bitcoin and Ethereum chart, and again, either I'm going to record and the Liteforex, my colleagues from Liteforex are going to upload, or simply I'm going straight live with Bitcoin and Ethereum chart a little bit later during the day. So if you are interested, stay tuned. I think I need some time to prepare it, so it's not gonna be earlier than, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours. But if you have a subscription into the Liteforex channel and you click the bell, then you are going to be informed about the updates on the channel. So yeah, I think I'm going to go live with Bitcoin and Ethereum once I'm going to go through the charts first by myself. Guys, it was my pleasure. We do have a levels. I'm not gonna chase. We have, again, I have to, sorry, when I'm wrong on the market and I'm stopped out, I'm saying I've been stopped out. But when we are doing good, it's also worth to mention that we are doing good. And we had a fantastic Tuesday. We had a very good morning today. No reason to try to chase the prices, especially that there are some levels away from the current price where we are on euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar yen. There is still some space to either to the upside or to the downside, right? So there is no reason to chase. All right, guys, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to be with you today again. Tomorrow, for sure, 8 a.m. CET, we are going to cover pre-London Open Live, and for sure today I'm going to briefly cover Bitcoin and Ethereum. Have a great rest of the New York session. Take care and don't be trapped. See you around. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.